recording?
I'm recording.
Okay.
Wait. Okay, I had my desktop audio on, but it's off now.
We all good?
Good luck editing that.
It should be fine.
Yeah.
Well, he had his desktop, so he heard both of my clap as
Do you want me to clap
okay.
again, Oscar?
Nah. Just go for it. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the TCG Scrubs podcast, episode 101. It's easier to track now that we're like at it beginning. I'm gonna lose track at some point.
That's true.
But yeah, we had a fun time last week. We did episode 100. If you guys missed it, I'd say go check it out. The stream is still up, and I had Colin. I told him where to clip it, so he clipped it. So it starts off right where the podcast should start. It is about 2.5 hour range, but it was a lot of interesting conversation. It looks like some people really enjoyed it. They've commented on there. Hearing the opinions from Ryan Miles and Jeff Finnegan, kind of about.
Am I supposed to be streaming this?
I kind of don't you always?
Well,
I haven't gone to. We've done it twice, Oscar. We've streamed it like twice.
We've done it like 3
it's not
times,
like a habit.
But yeah, but I agree with Colin more. Like we.
I'll get it going.
I'll
get it going. Continue talking. Oscar.
See, we're so organized, guys. We're so organized.
Like,
where was I at? But you can get their opinions on kind of like their perspective from the experience they've had in card design and the things they've done. It's pretty interesting. Go check it out. Joey was definitely drinking a $40 bottle of wine, which he had to push the cork down. The best part, in my opinion, were two different moments. One of them was the very beginning of Joey searching for his what do you call it?
Wine opener.
The cork. Wine opener, whatever. And he's just walking around ever looking for it. And then in the end, the whole reference to 100 episodes. I think it was Ryan who's like, "Oh yeah, see you guys, next year for 200." And Jeff's like, "Wouldn't that be like 153?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I guess it is. Hey, we've been doing this for more than a year.
Yeah.
It's 100 episodes."
Yeah, we have.
But it's been fun, and if you want to help support the things that we do here and this podcast, you can definitely head over to Happy Little Hug Factory. You'll find a link in the description below. That link lets them know that we sent you over. You want to make the purchase with that link. Building the cart and doing it later won't work out as much to showing that we sent you over. And you can go over there and pre-order the new set. I'm expecting to see spoilers somewhere in the next 2 to 3 weeks. And you can also find the starter decks there for Priscia Valentina. And I think it's assumed, it hasn't actually officially been announced, but that Machina is the buy a box promo, just the way Lenneth was this last time.
We can assume it all worked the same with that and the pre-release promo and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I would assume.
You can also head over to patreon.com/TCG Scrubs. Over there we do a Patreon podcast, which we film right after this. We also have the gameplay, which this week me and Joey did one. He was kind of running with his OLS.
What? Spoilers?
If you want the upper hand and you're gonna play any OLS and you think you might play Joey, go check it out so you know how to counter him. I guess that's his big concern.
Apparently, you just play ISIS. That's how you counter me.
And I was like, my thought when I played the ISIS deck against you was like, this will help me get some practice and figure out what I should take out and put in. And I was like, okay, well, I guess that's kind of easy.
It's like one game out of 3, but don't get a sideboard or anything.
Well, the gameplay we do on Patreon is usually just a short thing, real quick. And the better options usually on Tuesdays, is it right? When we release the gameplay on the channel, there's like an in-depth discussion between whoever played, kind of like their thoughts behind it, think they would change, or just opinions between the two decks, which also goes up on Patreon. But patreon.com/TCG Scrubs if you want to head over there and do all that. But yeah, no, last week's stream was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. We've had the channel for 3 or 4 years now.
Something.
I think it's almost 4 years now.
You guys can go see our old janky gameplays with the shaky I don't know if it's shaky, but it was like on the arm.
It was solid,
layer.
I think, but it's still bad.
We tried really hard and progressed and gotten a lot better. I
didn't realize until I was like all the way done, but I drank that entire bottle of wine in like a 2-hour sitting, and it was not a good idea as I found it.
No, I was laughing because like you at the beginning of the podcast, you're like, no, I didn't want to interrupt. No, go ahead. But then like later on, you're like, I have a question. You would just ask the question of whatever it was. They could be mid-sentence. You're like, I have a question. And I remember jumping. No, go ahead.
If you need to jump into, like, first of all, you have to cut off Jeff because Jeff will ramble on about for like 30 minutes, and then Ryan, he's a fine, but it's just you just gotta get in there when the getting's good. Like Oscar, you were just like. I am like a podcast viewer right now. And I'm viewing this podcast like the past hour.
Yeah. I was talking to Bill afterwards, and that's what he was saying. He's like, a little more engagement, but you did great. I was like, no, I get it. It wasn't my wheelhouse of what you were talking about. I was kind of lost at times. I don't know if you heard me when I was like doing the. If you guys think you like that, go check it out. I was like a little bit hesitant. I was like, I don't know if I'd watch it again. I get that people liked it. I was just like, it wasn't really my thing.
No, that's funny. That was fun.
Yeah. So some of the things we're going to talk about today is just kind of randomness. I know we had I've been trying to research some stuff that's kind of maybe pointless and maybe make me think it's silly, but every now and then something will gain my interest, and I'm like, I want to know more about that. And that's the Ghost in the Shell anime cartoon, whatever you want to call it, because I know it looks different, or I don't know where it's being made technically. Some things I've read said it's being made in LA. Some things I see it's made from a company who may be located in Japan. It's all sorts of crazy stuff, but I thought it looked cool. I know Colin didn't like the way it looked, but I was trying to figure out, where did they make this deal? Like, who's this deal with for like the rights to use the artwork in Force of Will?
Oh, we're opening with this. Okay.
Yeah. I just wanted to. What were we gonna know?
All right.
Well, Colin.
Colin, remember I said I had a thing connected to this, and you're like, "Oh, do you want this at the tail end?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll do that at the end."
Because I'm trying to keep it going. I just saw my note over here. Okay, no, we'll pause it.
We can do it now if you want.
It's too late. Pandora's box is open.
All right.
Yeah, go.
So I was doing some research on it. I was like, what company did they make it through? And like, you go to the official website, which is a Japanese website. It's not even English. And there's 3 companies listed at the very bottom of the website, and it's Netflix. Actually, I think it's 4. Production IG, Sola Digital Arts Inc., and Bandai. And so I did a little like digging in each one. I didn't dig in Netflix. You can't really dig in Netflix. It's just like Netflix is Netflix. But Production IG looks to be like a producer of the show. It looks like they've been doing Ghost in the Shell for a while now, if not since the beginning. And then the Sola Digital Arts is the one who are doing the actual animation, it looks like, because they specialize in special effects and stuff like that, like computer-generated
CG type of stuff.
There you go. Yeah. And then Bandai is just Bandai. I don't know what it has to do with anything or why they're tied to this. So I'm wondering if it's through Production IG or if it's through Bandai.
It's probably through Production IG, I would expect. Because I think Bandai is, like, the distributor of the they're like, hey, Netflix, we're gonna give you this or they're gonna bid, and so it's like, so they don't own any of the stock in it, or like they don't really own it. So I think they're like the distributors of the license, the rights and stuff. Like, yeah, I don't know. Probably.
Well, see, I briefly looked, and it looks like Bandai was in partnership with Production IG for the original standalone Complex series, so they've been there the whole time, and so Bandai might be the arm that's goes and fishes this out to other people potentially, maybe, since Production IG, I believe, is the main force behind Ghost in the Shell, so they go to Bandai to distribute it to the different networks and stuff like that. So Bandai might have been the one that made the deal with Force of Will. Is what I'm thinking with, because whenever you see these types of deals, you don't see, like, I can look. I don't think we've seen any Production IG really do anything like this, whereas
do anything
Bandai
like
definitely have seen.
Do anything like what?
Leasing out property. I'm trying to see what stuff they've made.
They've made a lot of
yeah, I'm going through. There's a lot of popular stuff. None of it outside of obviously Ghost in the Shell now and Attack on Titan. But no, that's Attack on Titan Junior High. That's not even the
I think
main one. So
well, no, is
a lot of
I think they did like season 1 or something. But I think
my point I'm trying to get at it.
I don't remember.
I don't see them doing season. They might have, and I'm just blazing over it. But my point is, just going over this real quick. Man, they did a lot of good anime. Is that all of the anime that I see on here though, none of it I've seen in either, whether it be card form or like board game form or static deck form. I've seen outside of Attack on Titan, but I only see Attack on Titan Junior High. But Attack on Titan does have a deck builder. But I don't see that on here. But they've done, famous ones like they've done Psychopaths, they've done Fooly Cooly, they've done obviously Ghost in the Shell Arise. It looks like they worked on, so that's kind of cool. And among Guilty Crown, among other things, but none of those that I've said that I can think of.
Yeah, it may be
card games.
Condensing some of the titles too, because I know if you go to IMDb and you start to look at all the Ghost in the Shell movies, and you look at the production team behind it, they're listed on a lot of the movies that aren't listed on the website.
Yeah, so hold on. A television anime adaptation produced by Wit Studio and Production IG. So this is like a double thing.
Yeah.
But
I thought it was interesting. I am assuming it's going through Bandai as well, and I looked into it. The reason why I wanted to look into it is because I wanted to know where it came from, because it is kind of like we've never really truly had this like. I know they say Engaged Knights, right? That's what it's called. The first bingo was based on a Japanese mobile game, kind of like Gacha systems. I looked into that. I looked into that too. I can't find evidence of that anywhere. I've even got old phones where I did the thing where you mod the software and like made like a Japanese phone and had the Japanese store and you still couldn't find it. I couldn't find evidence of it here. I was like, was that really a case, or is it based on a way mobile phone games and it wasn't actually a mobile phone game from Japan?
I'm gonna have to do my own digging now.
Yeah,
because I'm also interested.
And if anybody listening to this maybe knows more about that or has found it before, let me know, because I've researched it 2 different times in the past, just trying to curious. I was like, oh yeah, how well did that do? Is that still around, or it just did so bad it just wiped from the face of the earth now? But I was curious, how they made the deal, who the deal was through, and what other potential things could come over as a result of this. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it was production IG and like in another year or 2, they're like, hey, we're doing another Netflix thing. It's Attack on Titan or whatever. Like, is that another thing that could possibly end up in Force of Will? So that's kind of why I was looking into this and kind of hit some dead ends, because finding distribution rights owned by certain companies is very difficult. And one of the websites I led to said that it's complicated, and usually only professionals who deal with this daily can navigate it properly. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to try that hard then.
Yeah. So to condense it down to its simplest form, like just me looking this up, it looks like Bandai even is distributing the original Ghost in the Shell movie that they were not a part of the actual production of.
Yeah.
And so it looks like Bandai does retain the full rights of distribution, and as an extension probably leasing out the property to other places. So if I had to guess, this is all funneled through Bandai. So going off of that very layman assumption, going to Oscar's point of like, oh, what other properties could they make? So I was pulling up Bandai to see like what are some things that they for sure are part of and own.
They've done a bunch
that
of stuff.
Could be a deal in the future. Well, they've been a part of a bunch of stuff. Like, for example, if you go on Bandai's page, it doesn't list Ghost in the Shell, even though they are a part of it. So, because that stuff is going to be a little bit harder to figure out and find out. But going on the stuff that they 100% for sure are like under them as a company, not stuff that they're making partnerships with. I'll go. They obviously they do video games as well.
I saw that.
So that's one thing to keep in mind. The video games include Tekken, Pac-Man. I would love a Pac-Man Force of Will set. Gundam, Soul Calibur. I love Soul Calibur. And as far as animes, some of the notable ones it lists here: Dragon Ball. That's never going to come here. One Piece, Naruto, Sailor Moon, and My Hero Academia.
Well,
and so I saw that, and I was like, Okay.
Well, and I think the interesting part too is like because I know when I was younger, a lot of like the anime and Power Rangers and stuff came from Bandai like distributing it to America kind of stuff, because because Power Rangers always had like, oh, Bandai or whatever, and so I don't know how likely it is we could see those like super big, because those are really large.
Yeah.
Well, Ghost in the Shell is large.
That's not as big as One
But-
Piece.
Yeah,
Naruto.
I would.
I think in
Like-
places like Japan, where their view is, I would say it is of similar. It's just not on the forefront because, with the exception of the one coming out now, they haven't really. Rise was their most recent one, but I feel like that one wasn't super popular compared to the originals. But it definitely, I feel like, gained over time.
I just think globally, like percentage wise, it's not the biggest as a possible. Like Joey was saying. I got distracted because he walked away. But I did have something I was trying to say. I completely lost the train of thought when he got up and walked. But I think what we I remembered it now. Once he came back, it came right back to me. It's like I walked away with him and came right back. I think one thing we learned from kind of dabbling in Chrono Clash was that a lot of the opinions from the players over there about the game is that as long as it doesn't exist in a card form currently being played, it's a possible IP that could be used. Because in Chrono Clash, they got Naruto, and they're thinking like, what could be next? Now they did have a little bit more of a hint because the Chrono Clash team would send out emails or have on their website surveys to see what people would like to see next, and so you kind of see like a little list of like how many they had maybe pre-planned, as well as like in other sections you can enter your own. So everybody's prediction is always like, as long as it doesn't exist in a card game form right now, and then we could see it. So like to me, like that would rule out things like Colin said, like Naruto wouldn't be a thing, or
but Naruto was a card game before.
it was, and then it ended, and because it ended, it's no longer a card game around right now. That's what I'm trying to. That's the point they're trying to get at. Yeah.
Okay.
I want to go back though, and that Pac-Man would be really cool.
No, it wouldn't. You would get- okay,
Yeah, I
okay.
agree.
Pac-Man, as like,
Especially
a
if they
singular
tried to do
card.
anime art for Pac-Man and stuff like that.
I would be happy with just
You got Pac-Man?
that cheesy 90s cover art Pac-Man version would be cool with me too.
Well, and I played a lot growing up Pac-Man World 2, which was an actual game. It wasn't just the Pac-Man maze. It was a regular video game. And so that had a lot of... You could definitely do some... Cause, you have Pac-Man, you have the Pac-Man, the four ghosts and stuff like that. But
Mrs. Pac-Man.
that Pac-Man World introduced a lot of other characters. You have the Pac-Man Village with all the other villagers and stuff like that. You have the old guy. You have little baby Pac-Man people.
I'm like,
you have the giant ghost dude that took over the tree that drops the fruit and stuff like that. There's a lot of characters in the Pac-Man mythos that they could grab.
Well, yeah, and I'm sitting here just brainstorming all these possible ideas, and we could get carried away just shooting these out. But I was thinking like the fruit you'd gather could be the special magic stones that do something silly.
If they did Pac-Man, they would have to do it like a one-off. Like how it goes Ghost in the Shell, where we get one Pac-Man card and it's Pac-Man, or maybe we get Pac-Man and 4 ghosts. But no, you can't make like a Vingolf set or a small mini set based on Pac-Man. So,
you 100% can. I think you 100%. If you can, based on some anime video game no one's ever heard of, an entire Vingolf about that, you can do it for Pac-Man.
You know how incredibly popular that Pac-Man movie was? Not
Pac-Man movie?
Yeah. Right? There was
a movie?
Yeah, there's a Pac-Man movie.
When?
Pac-Man and stuff.
I missed this. You gotta tell me when this happened. I must have missed this. But yeah, no, I think it'd be great. I'm especially because Pac-Man's not just a Wonka Wonka. He's got the legs and arms, so you could totally do like anime version of Pac-Man. And stuff, and you could have it so his ruler side is his normal. When he deactivates, it's his blue, where he's like, "Well, I'm gonna kill everybody."
Yeah,
and you can't pay to judgment. You have to collect you have to like collect fruit or get the dot, and then when you play that down, that's your regalia, is his special dot that turns him blue, and then that's how he can judgment for free.
Also,
Alright.
the movie I was thinking of was pick
Pixels?
Yeah, and that like
Yeah, no,
heavily featured Pac-Man and stuff.
It had heavily featured is a strong word. Was I don't know. I never saw it.
I never saw it either, but I'm pretty sure it heavily featured Pac-Man.
I don't think anyone saw it based on the box
because it sucked.
But,
And it had Pac-Man in it.
yeah, no. But so Pac-Man is one of the properties that wasn't used. See, I don't think Sailor Moon has anything currently going on, does it?
No, but that was like a popular vote within the Chrono Clash community for some people that they wanted to see Sailor Moon come out.
Yeah, no, yes.
It was an old card game back in the day that some people still collect, but it's not around, so someone could do something with it. That'd be neat. I'd be behind that too.
I think Sailor Moon would be great. I think that would be such a good idea for a set because I think it would translate so well, especially with the whatever, I'm blanking on the name. Her theme she uses Sailor Moon.
I never watched Sailor Moon, so I don't know.
Like that could be her regalia and stuff, and obviously it'd just be her normal side, and then she judgments into
how about no more
her
regalia
form.
How about no more regalia ever?
Regalia are a theme. We gotta live with it now. It's just a theme, so we just gotta make it flavorful, so at least it's bearable in that sense. But
so two things
go ahead.
The two things I was going to take it back to the beginning again just one more time is that one, what are some things that like do you want to see more of this happen? Like, do you think more of this will actually happen? Like this little crossover set.
If they space it out, I think it's possible. If it probably depends on whether this is successful, and it probably is not dependent on the property, honestly, because this is coming out later this year. Like Oscar said, it's probably going to come out the same time that the Netflix show is released. So it's being used indirectly as a way to promote the show, and that's probably how they were able to get the license as a commercial for the show. So it probably has to be related to a property that has something coming out that needs to be advertised. So that being said, it probably... its frequency is literally probably dependent on what's coming out and what deals they can make. If they have a special relationship with Bandai, then it's a little less... Like, if My Hero Academia didn't have a card game coming out, that would be relevant, because not only do they have shows coming out, but it could be concurrent with the movie. They're probably going to release a movie a year at this point, so that would be a good avenue. Sailor Moon, Crystal... is that still going? I don't know. So
what if they made a deal with like MLB and it's like this funny crossover, like you're collecting baseball cards. And it's had actual baseball players on it.
It's like that's a thin line between parody and just like flipping everyone off.
Yeah, no, it was a joke. I just wanted to see what you had to say to it.
I will say that
you're just saying that because you just watched that Rudy video today, right?
I watched it, but how did that influence me? Because I don't remember it.
He talked about baseball cards with the serial numbers.
That's right. I remember now.
Because I was like, I didn't know that was a thing baseball cards.
Joey, do you want to weigh in on that? Because I had one other thing I was going to mention before.
No, well, yeah, a little bit. I think that if this is definitely popular, and if there's popular enough stuff coming out, it'll be a really good idea. Like, I mean,
yeah,
I always thought Vin Golf was a really great idea. I just think it was always poorly executed. Besides, the only Vin
Golf 3 was perfect.
Right, and that wasn't based on any like outside influence, which is
that's what they should have done going forward. They just didn't print enough was the only mistake thing.
Like, so poorly executed.
Yeah, poorly executed in the idea of like basing it off of stuff. Yeah, apparently it's nostalgia is what they're all about now.
It's true. I forget Valkyrie Chronicles is a thing.
Yeah. No.
He's trying to figure that
out. A lot of people forget.
It was the most exciting thing for me, and up until we realized what it was, and even then it was kind of like okay, and then we realized what the cards were, and we're like, oh yeah.
You know what I just thought of that would be great for Force of Will in its current state as a expansion set would be just a crossover with South Park, so they could have a bunch of member berries in it. You could just collect all the different member berries in it.
We're creating his Avengers Vingolf again, but not Patreon podcast one.
But see, this one worked out because people participated. See how that works? See how it works? It's crazy. It's crazy.
So going back, you done, Joey?
Yeah. I'm done. I pretty much.
Are you done talking,
so
Joey?
going back,
They have a bad track record.
I just want to make sure before I moved it too far. He's like, "Oh, I was gonna say, well, it's fine." He says he's not drinking. He won't just butt in. I won't tease you too much about that. But it was it's interesting because they have a concept artist. They have one concept artist for this show, which that was interesting. Usually it's like a company that's hired on with like say 10, 12 artists who create the concept behind this, and then some of the best ones are picked. I think about the Star Wars special features when I saw him picking out like the General Grievous, what he would look like, which was really cool. One guy, and the guy is a Russian who lives in Japan. I'm gonna mess his name up, but I think it's Ilya Kuvshinov. That's ILYAKUVSHINOV. Who has really nice artwork. If you go, it's fine. For anybody listening who wanted to like register when they were listening,
I thought it was like Kuvishinov, like
something along those lines. Yeah. So he has a lot of nice artwork in general. So I can see why they may have picked him or whatever happened to that situation. But I'm wondering if there's going to be cards where it's like the scene from the show. I've never been a fan of that, and if not, if they use all his concept art, which I was telling Colin about that, he said, "Oh, that's likely. Like if they have the concept art just sitting on a shelf, they can get money out of it now by doing this. Sell it to Force of Will to use."
Yeah.
I
said to you like that because that also makes sense of how they're able to get Ghost in the show. Their biggest claim to fame before this was Valkyrie Chronicles. It's like how to get Ghost in it was like in addition to promoting it, but it's like, hey, that concept art that you're going to throw away or use on a bonus feature or whatever, just give that to us, and we'll basically be promoting your theme for you. And so that's why I think that the whole thing might be concept art, because that's really good art.
Yeah. and it's cool because he's actually posted 3 or 4 different photos from Ghost in the show that he's, I guess on his Instagram if you want to go check that out. And some of it's more well polished, obviously, because you get some more refining as things go on, and some of it's more like rough. But it's actually really cool to see it. The only thing I'd say is a good amount of it is it's going to have the white background type thing. So I actually wouldn't be surprised if me and Colin were talking about this, you see his face already. We say it's a lot. I get it, but it's true. The caster's route, where it's the image, the plain background. Maybe they put what looks like wallpaper behind it. A lot of the caster cards have. This first promo didn't have it, but I get it. It's a promo. Maybe the other ones will have at least a solid color behind it of some sort. But I think a good amount of the artwork will actually have that, like a blank background.
That would
it's one of those. If you've ever commissioned art, it's always like, it's this much for this character and this much if you want a background. So if you want to save money, you get rid of the background because backgrounds are expensive. But I mean, at least with this as well, you can go back to the very first caster set, and my main complaint was the background. So it's not like a new theme for Force of Will. Yeah. I've never been a fan of it.
So that's kind of the approach, though. If like you had something and you're hiring the artist, but the fact that this is the artist already created all the artwork, it's not necessarily that they're probably paying less for these pieces. It's just there's probably a majority created already that have no backgrounds. Is what's happening this go around.
It's no backgrounds in the sense of like if you open the Photoshop file, you can just hit the eyeball and then put in a new background if you paid the money for it. So unless there's a deal with that they made with Bandai that they can't alter the art in any form, but
which might explain why they didn't put a background on it. It's just a plain white.
So much speculation. I'm like really enjoying the but okay. So hold on. More speculation.
I can't tell if that's sarcastic or not.
It was a little bit sarcastic, but I was like, wait a minute. I was speculating about stuff like 5 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, it's not like we could be like, let's go check on that Q&A with the company and see what they said about this.
Okay.
How about where are we at? 5 or 6 months now since
there goes your dislike. Your dislike's gonna happen.
Yeah, no, I realize it's been a while since I've mentioned it, so I was like, I gotta get that in.
Funny question. Do you guys think that they went with this Russian artist because a lot of Ghost in the Shell has a lot of like draws from like Russian, I don't know, the whole feel of it is
I'm not going to
Russian.
weigh in on that because I've only ever seen the live action movie a couple times, and some of
like
let's talk about that.
the secondary
it's
character
because
is Russian, right?
No.
The
Unless he does it.
the white-haired general guy. I thought he was Russian or something.
No, he's just special ops. He doesn't have an accent or anything.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
But the concept art is just Russian. Though there's stories I believe in Standalone Complex that take place in Russia. But Standalone Complex is a very international show. It has stuff there. I believe they go to Africa and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. But I wouldn't say it's Russian based. It's very much about the merging of different cultures and stuff like that. So it doesn't necessarily have anyone stand out outside of obviously Japan and stuff like that. But yeah, I would say it's just that he's just really good at you saw the promo card. He's a really good artist.
Yeah,
I really like his art.
I do too.
I wish the whole show looked like that.
No, I was looking at a lot of the various artwork he's done before this. That's his own personal thing or other various like projects where he was hired on to create stuff, and it's actually really good stuff. I don't know I forget where the location of Worlds was, as well as the location where he was, but actually the weekend that everybody's on their phones. The weekend that
I was
messaging. Yeah.
The weekend that everybody went to Worlds, he actually had.
I was messaging Joey.
It sucks, right? This subject's boring.
This terrible podcast right now. I'm so disappointed.
No. It's an amazing podcast. Everybody loves it. 10 out of 10. No, but the weekend that Worlds was taking place, there was actually the artist himself actually had an exhibition that same week it was starting up. So like, I was like, man, how cool would it have been if it was in the same city and just like, I gotta take whatever trains, buses, I forget, I don't know how it works, walk there to the venue to visit him while he was there, because he was there for signings. Just go take your promos and get them signed would be pretty neat.
That actually super cool.
Yeah. No, that would be super cool.
Yeah.
I'm like super well, and I guess the odds of that happening after watching that documentary on League of Legends, I'm like, oh man, it could all be next to each other because they're talking about that on there.
But in the end, yes, some of the artwork was white background and does look cool. There was some that had like actual scenery, so there's concept art of locations. So I'd be interested to see like those being used like as additions or something like that.
Yeah, I was about to say field additions or something.
Yeah,
cool.
But that's kind of all I had on the subject. I'm really excited about it. So it made me want to research it again. I know like they kept saying that it's going to be released simultaneously with the Netflix show, and there's no definite dates given it, but it looks like some sources, especially from the actual artist itself, looks like it's coming out in April. So it looks like it could be an April set that releases.
Yeah, and one thing I mentioned I wanted to do was similar to the Godzilla lore videos. I'll try and be doing something like that for Ghost in the Shell for this Force of Will set. So for any of you who are uninitiated in Ghost in the Shell, I'll wait till after spoilers are done so I can do the same thing with Godzilla, relate the cards and what the flavor of how they work is. Like, I can't think of the top of my head, but yeah,
Well,
I'll be doing more of those for Godzilla as well.
It'd probably be a little bit different though for this show, right? Since Godzilla lends itself to each of the eras it was from, but this is like, hey, it's basically a Netflix show as opposed to.
No, it'll be one video for Ghost in the Shell,
right?
And because assuming it's not, I guess because I was looking and I couldn't find actual full confirmation that this is a sequel series and not a reboot of Standalone Complex. If it's a reboot, I'm going to be super upset because you don't need it. That show's is well done. You don't need a reboot.
I think from what I was looking at, it's continuation of some sort.
I thought we had.
So if anything, I might do a video explaining the cards and stuff like that and the lore of that, and a separate video like sort of summarizing the first 2 seasons of Standalone Complex if it is a sequel series. And that way, if you guys don't have time to watch the show or the condensed movies, you could just sit down for 8 minutes and get all the stuff you need. I know probably 100 other YouTubers would do that, but like, I have an excuse to do it also. But I'll be doing more Godzilla videos as well. As part of my every 2-week videos, I'll be doing starting up here soon. I just got super busy. With different video projects, as you saw with like the interview with Demi Card Game and stuff. I really like doing that, so that was just super last minute, so it took up the Wednesday I was going to edit stuff. But yeah,
That's kind of all I had on that. What was you had a kind of like a, I guess, a segue into another topic
pretty
based
sure
off of what I said, right?
I think his segue was like, what other
Yeah, that was it. I had pulled up the
expansions
different properties they owned.
do we want to see?
Gotcha.
Like, oh, they make
the
they make Dragon Ball. Do you guys want to see Dragon Ball? They make.
Yeah, I was trying to see what they for sure owned if the deal was with Bandai, and then seeing their, and then that's when I found the connection with them redistributing old Ghost in the Shell, which means that they have the full distribution rights for Ghost in the Shell, which implies they have the licensing rights as well.
Got it.
I was picking up what you're putting down, Colin.
I mean, I had a feeling. I just want to double check. I didn't know that was it for sure.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about the other thing.
Yeah, OLS, which is it's an online league, something or other, right? But
Online league
syndicate.
Star Power. I don't know.
Sorry, I don't think Cal listens. But sorry, Cal, for butchering it. I typed in OLS.
Only losers.
Stream.
Colin's streaming right now.
Yeah, that's the joke.
Anyways,
basically,
but yeah, so Oscar entered into Pauper format, and Joe and I both entered.
For more details, wait, online league series. Okay, that's what it means.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah,
so
Force of Will, OLS.
Okay, it's Force of Will.
So yeah, it's a tournament series that Cal Tuma, I hope I pronounced that right, runs, and you may recognize his name. He tops a lot of events. And he's been running for a while. I just never actually played into it because the thought of like scheduling with some other people, especially because I'm talking to Tim right now, and Tim's like, yeah, no, the only difficult part is scheduling with Europeans on non-weekend days because apparently that's pretty difficult. That's kind of the one thing that ever turned me away from doing online tournaments or playing with people online is that scheduling part. It's kind of a pain in the butt sometimes.
I get kind of nervous when I play with like new people also. So like I don't like meeting new people. So like because so I played with Colin like almost a year ago in Jeremy's one of like his first online tournament, and then I think I even did his second, but I lost to somebody in the second round. But it's just kind of awkward. You're like, hey, how's it going? Oh, hey, okay, well, let's just get into this again.
It was more difficult for me in that tournament because I remember I played Benjamin Bargetzi and he didn't have a mic, so we were having a type in Lackey chat, and we played on Lackey back then. So it was like, is that good? It's like, yeah, that's good. But I didn't say anything, so you're good. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like I would do something. He's like, wait. I was thinking, I'm like, oh, damn it. You say if you don't say anything, it's good. I'm over here continuing to play. But so it can be stressful sometimes if they don't have a mic or if there's a language barrier. But I thought it'd be a good idea to join it because I was like, hey, it gives us something to talk about in the podcast before and after the fact. And it'd be cool to help promote somebody's little project they're doing and maybe influence some of you guys to go join. If you listen to us now live or you're watching after the fact, you're hearing on Saturday. I forgot the deadline day. I believe the deadline day was during the weekend.
It was like
because
the 10th.
Be starting. Was it 10th? I know. So that's,
I shouldn't.
it's
say
Friday.
that. I could completely mess it up.
Okay, but he didn't say that. I was told by Tim it was on the weekend, so I'm not sure exactly when. I just wanted to get in as fast as I could and didn't pay attention to dates. But it does start Monday, I believe, for the games, like to start organizing when you're going to start playing somebody. But if you have a chance and you have time, maybe you can find the links in the global group and jump into that real quick. I'll put a link down below. It's just you can check it out. If you don't get in this time, save the link and you can join into the next one. But I joined in the Pauper League, and these guys, I was like, are you going to join Pauper with me? I don't know why I assumed y'all were going to join Pauper with me. They're going to do New Frontiers.
I told you I was going to do New Frontiers.
It was before y'all said y'all would do it. When I pitched to y'all, I think I assumed y'all were going to join Pauper with me is what I'm trying to get at.
You probably should have told us, like, hey, join Pauper with me.
I wanted y'all to do what y'all wanted to do. Like, because also, it's going to suck if, like, we're like, oh, I got paired with Colin round 1, I lost, and I got paired with Joey round 2, and I beat him, or something like that. I thought he would weigh in and, like, comment on that. I said he lost. But now you guys get to have that, like possibly being paired up with each other in different tiers.
Probably will be.
Well, so the way that I was understanding the structure of the tournament goes is it's not really a tournament structure. It's like a football league. So like it's like everybody's plays like week 1 I play Colin, week 2 I play Oscar, week 3 I play Jimmy, week 4 I play Johnny, week 5 I play Gary, and then week 6 I play Madison. And so I take all those 6 weeks and I went like 6-0. So I have like 300 points. But Colin went 3-3, so he has 200. He has like 150 points. And so at the end, we kind of whoever has the best score, they go into playoffs, and then they have their little playoffs and stuff. And then that's probably the real tournament. But like it's much more of like over the course of 2 weeks, I think you play 3 different sets, and then you get points for wins and you get points for losses.
Yeah, no, I was under the impression it was like a 2-week thing where you played 3 or 4 rounds, and then whoever had the highest points was like then ranked from highest to lowest.
I think it's.
I didn't know it was like 6-week thing.
I think it's like supposed to like it's a league, so I think it's supposed to be over a couple of.
Because like in Pauper, what if like 6 people join? We're not going to play for 6 weeks, right?
I don't know. So, real quick, entry is due on Saturday, 1/11 at midnight. So the 11th.
So everybody has a chance to actually enter this. If you're listening to this live, listen to the stream when it's there on the what's called VOD, and then Saturday when it comes out, you have a chance to enter it depending on the time of the day. To join us, whether you want to join those guys at New Frontiers, join me and Popper. Be careful when you're building your deck and looking at cards on the database that everybody uses, the Alta whatever, because when I was looking at some things, they have some improper tags of cards that are either rare, but they're marked common. So when I looked at commons only, I thought it was there. So pay attention to your symbols in the corner to make sure you're building a legal deck.
Okay, let me describe.
Also,
sorry.
Well, one last thing. Also, when you're signing up for this league, you're going to want to create your deck on Untap, and you're going to create your deck on Gacha, because to enter to this, you're going to need to submit codes from both of those so that they know what decks you're using. When you go to click on the formats, it'll also show you additional instructions of like, here's what's banned. It's a bigger list on Pauper, obviously, because there's more banned in Pauper. Just so you know what you're working with. So you can go click on it and start working with it from there.
Okay, so
little cheat code. Do the gotcha list first, because then you can download the text list and upload it onto Untap to save you some time.
I
did it in the reverse order because I didn't know I needed the gotcha.
Yeah, Joey asked me because he built it on Untap and asked me if he could import it to Gacha, and I said no, because you couldn't do that. But the other way around is what you can do.
Probably what I would have tried to do. Yeah, anyway, right. So games will be played over a 2-week period. In each 2-week period, there will be 3 rounds in a Swiss-style format. After each period, results will be tabulated, and players will get points equal to their finish that period. After the season, each player's 10 best scores will be added together, and from that, they will be placed on the leaderboard. There will be 12 periods in the first season. After that, top players will be invited to play in an invitational tournament online. The last period of the season will begin on March 9th. So it's like 2 weeks, 12 periods per period. That's 24 weeks. So it's and then at the end of those 24 weeks, then the top players will go to an invitational period.
That's cool. So like you'll give us some good content to talk about each week on the podcast.
League. It's like, if I joined a softball league, then I'm gonna play an entire season of softball.
Hearing Colin go 24 weeks, like that Homer meme of him just disappearing in the bushes.
No, he was probably more like, wait, how does that math like come up?
Probably.
But
he's a math person.
But he also might have been like, that's a lot of 24 weeks. I might be dead by then.
But it should be fun. It'll give us plenty to talk about each week for sure.
Yeah.
How things are going.
Yeah. I mean,
sure.
I figured like, okay, well this could take up a lot of my time, but I haven't been playing a lot of Forceful anyways, so it could be a really cool thing.
Yeah. And I want to talk about our decks kind of going into it, maybe some things that we're thinking about. And I know Joey was super concerned. He didn't want people to know he's running because of possible unfair advantages.
No, I didn't want them to be knowing what I was running before I started getting into the meat and potatoes. Because I was just like, oh, Joey's running his deck. Like, at the very beginning of the podcast. Now I don't care. No.
He's like, some people stop watching it, right? It's fine, I'll talk about it. So you guys go first, because mine's just a popper list, not super important. But if y'all want to jump in with what you are doing. Okay,
well, I decided to run Fuji because I wanted to do something that, I didn't want to go meta, and I wanted to have interesting games, and I liked playing Fuji, so...
On Fuji, real quick, you had issues entering the name on the Google sheet, didn't you? Like to submit your deck.
Yeah, Fu and XI is not. I guess it's too similar to another F word, and they don't want that. So I couldn't have like Fuji dragons on there. So my deck ended up naming it Dragon Fu, which is actually kind of a cool deck list name. But anyways, yeah.
See, just like Jaws, you made something better with less to work with.
But yeah, it should be pretty good. It's a lot of basic stuff, but with the new set, like you get access to like thunders and stuff, which is pretty cool. So I'm running Thunder and Demon Flame, and then I have like the Sandstorm to turn Demon Flame on, and I don't know, there's just other cool stuff. But yeah,
that's pretty cool.
We did a test game, so I guess people who want to join Patreon can go check it out. But
see, the issue is that I had a really nice Fuji deck list on Lackey, that's on my other computer back there, and I didn't want to go like get out the list and have to deal with all that nonsense. So I was like, okay, well, I'll just remake the list with a couple of new stuff, and I'm pretty sure this is what I had. And then I played it, and I was like, this seems a lot less good than...
Well, you had unfortunate turns where it was like, draw, go. Draw, like 3 or 4 in a row, I think.
Well, no. It was like...
had to pass.
It was like, really, it was 1, and then the second one I was trying to like bait you out and be like, oh, I can't do anything. And then I played the 4-cost grab a card from my deck at the end of your turn, and I grabbed Genshi, and then you like killed him.
I just removed it from the game. I was like, hey, cool, remove that.
The deck is, especially versus Oscar's deck where he runs that stupid 800 barrier spell where it's like, okay, so I wasted my removal and
Protection of the Angels, which is actually... I threw that in because I was like, ooh, that could be useful to protecting a Naya or Isis on the field.
I hate that card so much. Nobody else besides Colin plays, or Oscar plays.
Well, it's true. I played Brunhild, and I really loved that card. It's probably why I put it in. Bacon.
I just entered in my Faria Knights deck. It's the exact same one you guys saw with the gameplay video we did earlier. Just because I want to play with it some more, sort of parse out what's good and not in it, since I don't have a lot of opportunities to play Force of Will, so by doing so, testing the deck and stuff like that. So I thought it was a good opportunity. I already know my machine deck and how good or not good it might do, so I thought this might be a little bit fun just to see where this takes me.
I'm really hoping they let us tweak the decks between periods possibly, because like there's going to be a new set that comes out in the middle of it. I think like there's going to be new stuff possibly, so I mean, I don't know, because on one point that'd be cool, but on the other, like, people could just make an entirely new deck and then submit that, and then it's like, well, that's not really cool.
So we're walking in blind to this. People can't tell how this is going to be run. Some of you have probably already been playing it who know more about us.
They're a lot more blind than I am, apparently, because they're like, oh, it's a league? I have to play? It's a commitment? Oh, shit. Oh, no, I didn't know this. But, so are you excited to play, like, Knights and stuff and see how they do? Are you, like, back on the Knight train, Oscar? Or Colin?
I don't know about that. I'm sort of just, like, experiencing how it goes. Obviously, knights have a lot of cool interactions with them, so that's nice just having those interactions. But I don't know if I necessarily like it as much as, say, my machine deck, but it is definitely pretty interesting. So I'm basically just that's one of the reasons I entered into a tournament with it, is to see how I feel about it and how it goes overall and stuff.
How do you feel it may go?
I think it'll be sort of half and half. So if I play, say, 4 games, I'll probably win 2, lose 2. I think is my prediction. Is I don't have a 50% win rate.
When you said that, I was really hoping like you aren't like 7 weeks in and going like, I've lost every single game, everybody's playing like meta decks, and I'm not having any fun at all. I'll be like, oh no.
If it goes 24 weeks, right? What's your record? You're I'm like 0-14 right now.
more like what? 60 something, 72. Yeah. Anyways, so Popper, Oscar, what's good about Popper?
Well, one, I was excited to see it. I haven't played it in a really long time. I figured there wasn't a huge change to it happen. I did have to research a lot of cards leading into it to make my decision of what I wanted to run. Back when we used to play Popper, I had run 2 decks. One of them was good, and one of them was really good. The really good one, I completely forgot what it was. And it was in Lackey. And I've reset Lackey a few times, and this is a long time ago, so I don't have that list anymore.
You could have.
I wish
maybe could have watched some of the videos. I don't know if we did any Popper videos.
I don't think we did, but I played the good deck, not the really cool deck, which is what I'm referring to. I lost. It's gone. I tried to brainstorm it for a bit, but I didn't. I was like, it's taking too long. I'm gonna default to the other deck that I run. And it's actually the only time we've ever done Popper. I ran a Kaguya 4, and so it's a Kaguya 4 deck. And it's only because before picking it, I went through all the cards or commons, and I was like looking for anything. So real quick, the deck I forgot, it ran what's your name? Red Riding Hood, the one that was green.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think we played it in private. Y'all might remember it if we played Popper in private. It was really solid. I forgot it. I played it in Jeremy's Popper thing, but I messed the deck up. I remember because I lost to Benjamin, and he was like, that's actually a really good idea. Why don't you run this ruler? I was like, yeah, I did. See, I remember all the cards I ran, and so it's like I've never gone back to it. But since I looked at it, I was like, what? Because she's still safe. Because her what made it great with her, I guess any ruler, no, with her mostly, I think, is that she had protection from black and red, and outside of that, there's no other common cards that destroyed a J/Resonator that was not black or red. But now there technically is. There's a white card from Brunhild that kills something rested, and when it can make it rested, they're having a tech in that more hard, but something existed. So I kind of was like, you know what? Is there anything that destroys a lot of additions? Because Kaguya just throws down additions like crazy, has barriers, she's protected, and there's nothing that has mass addition destruction that's a common card. So I was like, I'm just going to default to this and see how this goes. And then I started talking to Tim, and Tim's shooting off ideas at me, and I'm like, ooh, am I going to be okay? Because I contemplated running a Divinity Ruler, and I understand the card advantage of having a rune deck, but I was like, nah, Kaguya will be fine. So I go to throw down 5 kimonos, and I flip, and then like I'm protected, and I'm doing cool stuff. But now I am a little like second guessing myself as to whether or not how well that's going to end up for me.
Do you have good barrier creatures who are commons?
I have the flower, which has barrier.
Okay. Flower's the best.
I have some other stuff that doesn't have barrier, but that can get really big based on things like I run like 2 10 man. 10 man is when additions attach will gain more attack and defense. There's one that when we did a video, someone goes, "Why aren't you running this?" I'm like, "Oh yeah, Kaguya Servant," which says like for every addition I think in the field she gains +4/+4, or every treasury item in the field, 1 or 2, and so she can be like a 24/24 by just dropping into the field. Push is called to action for swiftness on certain people, just on the fly. It's the same thing I've run before. If anybody's just curious, you can look up Popper on our channel and actually see me playing Joey and playing Colin. And it's worked really well.
Do I win?
No, I've beat you guys. I've never beat this deck, which is why I was convinced it's going to be great. And I second guess myself for not picking a Divinity Ruler after the fact. But it was also like I try to see if there's anything new I need to run, but there's honestly nothing. It's just probably different ratios of the deck you've seen in the past.
You can't say like, well, I guess there's probably nothing in that specific deck, right?
Right. I looked for green blue stuff that the deck would want to run because you don't get special magic stones in this format. You have basic stones only.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm strictly green blue unless I put in a random colored stone in there, which to me there's no benefit for me to do that. So I looked at green blue cards. I thumbed through them. I did skim it. So somebody's probably like, "What? No, this card exists." And nothing caught my eye immediately. So I just kind of built it based on what I've had in the past.
Is Geronimo a common card, or is she not a common card?
I don't know. Vingolf is a little sketchy. When it comes to Vingolf, you gotta look at the ban list because there's a big chunk of cards just banned from Vingolfs because rarities are missing on some of the Vingolfs, and the ones that do have rarities. No, yeah, I think it's missing for the most part. I don't know. It's a weird thing when you have to look at the Vingolfs because it goes back and forth. So anybody signing up who's still listening to this, be careful when reading it because you'll see like, oh, Vingolf, this is banned. Vingolf 2, this is banned. But like Vingolf 3 is like, these are not banned. Like, meaning you could use them. So just because it's listed there doesn't mean you can't use it.
Yeah.
So you got to pay attention to what you're looking at when you go through those. But I don't know. So, I was confident until I talked to him, and then that went out the window. So I'm really curious how many people like will play Pauper compared to your guys'
like,
format.
Okay, guys, well, we have a league of 3 people, so enjoy that.
Hash it out. It's Oscar versus Tim.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oscar versus Tim. Oscar versus Gary. Oscar versus Tim. Oscar versus Gary. Oscar versus Tim.
It's like, guys, it's going great. I'm like 50-50. 2 different opponents the whole time. I win the one, I lose the other. I win the one, I lose the other. I'm paired up against myself next week. I don't know how it's going to turn out, though. So I'm kind of excited.
Pretty sure our games follow a very set structure where by the 5th turn, both of us know who's going to win or lose.
Yeah. Pretty much. I'm gonna laugh though if it's like, yeah, this is a 24-week league if we reach this many players. So you guys have a 24-week league, but it's like, oh no, you guys have 4 weeks, and then we're gonna knock y'all out because you'll be finished by then. I'm like, oh cool, I'm done. All right, you guys have fun doing this 24-week league. So, I'm excited to see where it goes, and I'll definitely fill everybody in who's listening to this and wants to know more about it. And yeah. Hopefully we get quite a few Pauper players.
Yeah.
But I think that will wrap up the kind of things we're going to talk about this week. And so we'll see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Woo. Bye.